What's going on, guys? Overman back again, and for some reason Bungie insists on locking out a large portion of their player base from the endgame content because Bungie is acting like a little bit of a matchmaking Nazi. Now I will say that there are good arguments for why matchmaking is not the answer for the 6-man problem that the raids bring up. I, like most people, think that the best solution for that is just better social options in the hub areas. However, for things like Challenge of the Elders or the Nightfall and the daily heroic mission, there's really no reason why matchmaking couldn't work. These activities are nowhere near as complex and require nowhere near the amount of communication and coordination that raids require. So there's really no good reason for there not to be a matchmaking option. And I'm pretty sure all three of those activities could be done in silence. Now, of course, you'll probably have an easier time in something like Challenge of the Elders if you are communicating, and of course, if you're playing with people you know or cool peeps from LFG or wherever, you'll also have more fun as well. However, as someone who has used LFG in the past, it gets annoying and it's time consuming. Putting in your stats, who you're looking for, your credit score, light level requirements, and then you gotta get everyone into the game together, and then you gotta go do the thing. But with matchmaking, we would be able to save a lot of time and still play the content. But you know what the funny thing is? The lack of matchmaking hasn't entirely stopped people from going into Challenge of the Elders because people were soloing the damn thing on day one in under 15 minutes. Now I know the week 1 modifiers made things pretty easy, but still, that says something. If people are able to solo this content day 1, then there's absolutely no reason for there not to be matchmaking for the Challenge of the Elders. It's really not that serious, and it would be a great way to get people into the endgame content. And the same can really be said for the Nightfall too. You know, back in the day when I actually did the Nightfalls, I'd hop on LFG and pick up 2 more to get it done, and for the most part, I never really communicated with my teammates. Unless they were cool and we started having a conversation, but even then there was no need to communicate for the Nightfalls. They were pretty darn easy in year 1, and they're even easier now because you won't get kicked back to orbit anymore if you guys wipe. And can someone tell me why there's no matchmaking for the daily mission? I mean, of course it's not so challenging, but having the option to get a match-made fire team would be really nice if you needed to bang it out real quick for the 15 marks. But then again, maybe that's why they don't add matchmaking for it, because maybe they just want to squeeze out as much playtime as possible, and the daily mission is something that's easy enough to solo on a regular basis anyways. However, that is a pretty shitty reason not to have matchmaking as an option for an activity, but whatever. I'm sure most people care more about the Nightfall and the Challenge of the Elders, and I'm also sure that most Destiny players would love it if Bungie took a page out of Massive's playbook, because in the Division they let you matchmake for everything and it works perfectly fine. Now I don't want to sound like I'm glorifying the Division because I'm well aware of its issues, but one thing that kept me coming back to the Division was that I could jump into matchmaking for my daily missions and challenge missions. It was great because you could jump into these activities without waiting around for 30 minutes to get a team together, and instead you'd spend that time actually playing the game and getting your loot. And I think Bungie could do the same with Destiny. And you know, I'm sure it's come up in the office. I'm sure they've thrown around the idea of matchmaking for the Nightfall and Challenge of the Elders, but for some reason they've decided against it. I'm not entirely sure why, but this is the part of the video where I put my tinfoil hat on and speculate as to why. Maybe Bungie isn't including the matchmaking option for these endgame activities because they want you to get your friends involved. You know, if people had matchmaking for a lot of these activities, people would be less inclined to tell their friends to get on Destiny too. You know, constantly looking for people on LFG sites is annoying, so the logical solution would be to tell your friends to play too. And you gotta remember that this game is rated T for teen, so I'd imagine that a lot of younger folks are into Destiny too, and there's no easier time to coordinate with people than when you're in school. When you're in high school, for example, you and your friends probably have similar schedules, and as a result, your free time will overlap with theirs pretty often, so it's easy to get into a routine with your friends. And one of the reasons why I rarely play with people I met on LFG was because most of the time people wanted to do different things. Some of them just wanted to chill and play strikes, some of them were going into the Crucible, some of them wanted to do the Nightfall, some of them wanted to do VOG, Crota, etc. You guys get the point. But it's always easy to coordinate with friends and get on a schedule with them because you guys can say, okay, we'll do the Nightfall on this day and the raid on this day and then trials on the weekend. And school makes that easier because you can see your friend and tell them not to go ahead and do a certain activity without you because you want to do it too. And that's one of the other problems I run into with people that I meet on LFG. You know, a lot of times people just already did the thing that I wanted to do. But yeah, maybe Bungie doesn't allow for matchmaking because they want you to bring in others. And they don't even have to be your friends from school. I know that because there's no matchmaking, a lot of people join clans to have people to play with on a regular basis. basis. And when you're in a clan, you're motivated to play because you know you'll have people to play with, and the same goes for them. And then you might also just want to get on and play just to hang out with them for a little bit too. So obviously I have no hard evidence for this little conspiracy theory, but it doesn't sound all that crazy to me judging by the way Bungie has handled their game in the past. And honestly, I can't think of too many other reasons for why they'd leave matchmaking out from the Nightfall and Challenge of the Elders. But honestly, I think after people had a little taste of this across the board matchmaking in the Division, Bungie needs to cut the shit and offer the same. Because I don't give a rat's red ass if you're trying to eke out more playtime from us or get us to get our friends engaged or, you know, clanmates engaged in the game or whatever. At the end of the day, this is a video game. We pay you money for a video game, and you guys are supposed to deliver the most fun experience possible. Playing with people is fun, don't get me wrong, but I think there should be a matchmaking option for those of us who don't necessarily have other friends to play with or who don't really want to go and grab people at the moment. At the end of the day, I think it's about making the content accessible for the player, and adding a matchmaking option is just a win-win situation. But that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not feeling too shy, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think the problem is with Destiny's matchmaking situation. Why do you think Bungie doesn't allow for matchmaking? And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description box below. That's it for me though, guys. Over, mate.